Yesterday, I believe I used the phrase, we can't have nice things. Good morning, by the way. Welcome to the Farzy Show. This is presented by Steven Singer of Steven Singer Jewelers. My name is Mark Farzetta. First, we have news on Joel Embiid and, his mild calf strain, whatever. Tightness in his calf, right? And then we lose Rhys Hoskins yesterday for the season. And I know he has been a lightning rod, and I always talk about it on this show. Why is he a lightning rod? It's the two non-existent takes that people just throw out there. Like, everyone says he's the greatest. Nobody says he's the greatest. We'll get to that. But in all honesty, my heart goes out to Rhys Hoskins. The guy has been a foundational piece here in Philadelphia. He has been through some bad years here in Philadelphia. He's certainly been through his share of managers in Philadelphia. Last year, he played in the World Series. That was incredible. Had a wild, incredible moments in the postseason. Doesn't go into arbitration. Doesn't settle on a deal with the Philadelphia Phillies that could be guaranteed money down the line and taking care of his family for generations. And they don't strike a deal. This was going to be the prove it year, and now the prove it year is no more thanks to this injury. It really is. It's a sad, sad moment. And I know people never feel bad for professional athletes. If there was ever a time to feel bad for a professional athlete, it's right now for Rhys Hoskins. Any athlete that is on the cusp of getting ready to break into a huge contract or a big contract. I'm not saying $330 million or anything like that, but I'm just saying getting what he is due. This was the year for Rhys Hoskins to prove it and to get a big deal, maybe not here in Philadelphia, but maybe elsewhere. And now he doesn't have that opportunity. So that is a sad thing. Baseball-wise, we'll get into what the Phillies can do to plug the hole at first base. We'll talk about that. And then, boy, oh boy, what a lot of people wanted to get into yesterday. Ezekiel Elliott has the Philadelphia Eagles on his short list of teams to play for. There's 3 teams on that list. The Eagles are one of those teams. So we'll get to all that and more on today's program. We will start it off in the football world with that Ezekiel Elliott news. Here it is by way of our friend Adam Schefter, who put it out there on the social media interweb yesterday. What exactly is going on with Ezekiel Elliott, who was released by the Dallas Cowboys? Shefty puts this out at 3:30 in the afternoon yesterday. Cowboys running back Ezekiel Elliott has narrowed his options about where he wants to play. He wants to go to the Eagles, the Jets, and the Bengals, and he would like to make his decision about where to sign by the end of next week, per sources from Adam Schefter. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. The Eagles are on former Cowboy running back Ezekiel Elliott's list of teams he'd like to play for. So, not too much long after that, our friend John Clark of NBC Sports Philadelphia, and he actually ended up getting a retweet here from Adam Schefter on this, but listen to this. He said that, according to his sources, the Eagles have not engaged in conversations with Ezekiel Elliott about joining the team, and they're happy with the running backs they have right now. It seems the Eagles, Bengals, and Jets are the wish list of Ezekiel Elliott, as Adam Schefter put it out there. Let me just tell you, so there's no confusion, where I stand on this. No, thank you. No, I do not want Ezekiel Elliott playing for the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, some people are like, because he's a Cowboy? Why? Because he'll be the next DeMarco Murray? Well, yeah, all that's possible. And yes, he was a former Cowboy, but I don't care that he at one time played for the Cowboys. Okay, I don't care about that. I care whether or not you can help this football team win. Ezekiel Elliott might be able to help this football team win, and I don't think he's going to be demanding a huge contract. And it's not like he's going to be holding out for money after he agrees to come to the Eagles. Like, that's stupid. That would never happen. I don't care. I don't think Ezekiel Elliott helps this team enough to bring him in. He's going to be 28 years old when the season starts. No, thank you. If you watch the Cowboys, which we all do, of course, hoping that they lose, he don't have it. He ain't that guy. He wasn't even that guy in Dallas for the last 2 years. Tony Pollard was the guy in Dallas for the last 2 years. Ezekiel Elliott hasn't been the guy under his new contract in Dallas since he signed that new contract. You know, over the last 3 years, he's only got 4 100 rushing yard games. That's not good for a running back. That's not good. He barely got over 1,000 yards last year, and he played 17 games. No, thank you. Oh, what's he going to do behind this offensive line? Make the offensive linemen hold their blocks for a lot longer. Oh, what can he do behind this O-line? Like, look at this, for instance. I know I have this somewhere here, and I'll get it up there. But Lane Johnson and Darius Slay both responded to this on social media yesterday. And I was shocked to see Lane Johnson actually put it out there. Now, Lane didn't necessarily come up there with a huge endorsement per se of Ezekiel Elliott coming to Philadelphia, but he at least just said that it caught his attention. This is what he put out there on social media yesterday. It's just the eyeball tweet at Ezekiel Elliott. So I would go ahead and assume that means that he would like to see Ezekiel Elliott play here in Philadelphia. What I see happening with Ezekiel Elliott and any team that he goes to is that it's the same thing that I watched in Dallas. It's offensive linemen having to hold blocks as they wait for him to get to the line of scrimmage. That first step ain't there anymore, folks. It's not there. That's why Tony Pollard. So people want to talk about offensive line, differential and offensive line between the Cowboys and the Eagles. Yes, the Eagles have one of the best in the NFL. Cowboys, not so much anymore, okay? Tyron Smith maybe, come back, get healthy, then it'll be a different story. But this past year, watching him run behind the Dallas Cowboys offensive line and then watching Tony Pollard run behind that same offensive line, it's all about hitting the hole quicker. It's all about having the ability to bounce it outside. Ezekiel Elliott does not have that capability anymore. Yeah, you get in the red zone. You're talking about a power back. You're talking about 12 touchdowns last year. Certainly. The Eagles feel they have that in Boston Scott already, and the Eagles feel like they're going to have that in Rashad Penny. As far as between the 20s, from 20-yard line to 20-yard line, they have a guy like Kenny Gainwell, who they feel has enough speed to be able to bounce it outside, hit the hole on time, and be able to help this offense really march down the field. I don't want any parts of Ezekiel Elliott. I would entertain it possibly if you're talking about a real low number. But as far as what I'm expecting, not much. I wouldn't be expecting much. But again, let me be clear. I do not want Ezekiel Elliott playing for the Philadelphia Eagles. I don't care that he was a Cowboy. I don't care that DeMarco Murray was terrible here. I don't care that Miles Austin was terrible here. It's got nothing to do with that. Every case is its own case. It's its own isolated case, its own isolated incident, case-by-case basis. No, thank you. Ezekiel Elliott, watching him play over the last couple of years, he don't have it. He is now the poster boy of why you don't take, sorry, for everyone that wants to take a running back in the 10th overall pick. He's a poster boy why you don't take a running back in the top 10. Poster boy for it. Had some success early, got the big contract, not a lot of success after. No, thank you. I know it's a fun talking point. Darius Slay also chimed in on it. He quoted the tweet there from Lane Johnson saying, I know you want to run behind this best offensive line. When I read that one, I thought of the scene in Braveheart where the British are charging through to the Scottish, and it's the first battle, and William Wallace and Mel Gibson. It's like, hold! And you're waiting, hold! And the horses are coming, hold! And the horses are coming, hold! And they're like, oh, no, hold! That would be, as long as that scene is, which feels like 10 minutes, that's as long as it would take for the Eagles offensive line to hold their blocks for Ezekiel Elliott to gain a yard. Okay? And by the way, it's not just me hating. The numbers from our friend Jeff Kerr at CBS Sports. Ezekiel Elliott last season, amongst 22 running backs with 200-plus carries, last in yards per game, last in percentage of 10-yard rushes. Like, that's a big, that means you got your own team a first down. Okay, let's just call it what it is. And then tackles avoided, only 32. First off, they got a stat for everything nowadays. Like, it's insane. But that was tied for last. Okay, last in yards per carry, last in 10-yard rush percentage, last in tackles avoided. I'm going to go ahead and not want Ezekiel Elliott on this football team. I'd rather roll the dice with Rashad Penny and say, hey, can you be healthy? Can you be healthy? Let's see what you can do if you're healthy there. And then Jeff tops it off there. Ezekiel Elliott, worst running back in the NFL. He was responding to a tweet that was saying Ezekiel Elliott was not the worst running back in the NFL. Jeff Kerr's like, I beg to differ. So I just want to let you know, I'm not in on Ezekiel Elliott. I know some people have the idea, you should do it. Oh, stop. It's just because you hate the Cowboys, you don't want it. No. There's actual statistical evidence, which I just presented to you as to why I don't want him on the Philadelphia Eagles. No, thank you. Nothing to do with the Cowboys. I don't care. One name that has popped up recently that I'd like to at least take a look at, because the Eagles have, I think, a greater need in this department than they do anything else. Rodney McLeod has entered the chat, has entered the conversation for a possible return to the Philadelphia Eagles. I know Jalen Mills, people were talking about Jalen Mills possibly returning to the Eagles as a safety role. He ended up signing a deal for $7 million, only $1 million less than CD Deuce. So if you needed evidence that CD Deuce misread the market, Jalen Mills signed a deal that was pretty damn near close. With the New England Patriots to stay up there in New England, up there in Foxborough. So I thought that was interesting. But now Rodney McLeod's name, I think it was Derek Gunn, good buddy Derek Gunn, putting it out there that Rodney McLeod may want a reunion with the Philadelphia Eagles. Yes, I'm entertaining that. The Eagles right now have a much bigger need at the safety position than they do in the running back room. So I am 1,000% behind at least kicking the tires with Rodney McLeod. Yes, please, and thank you. Things are dropped off for the Eagles in the safety position. Justin Evans, I hope I see wonderful things from Justin Evans, and I'm sure I'll see wonderful things from Justin Evans. Would love to see him, his career come back and come to fruition and erase the last 3 years where he hasn't played due to injury, and I'd love it, but I just don't see it happening. So with that being said, yes, I would kick the tires on Rodney McLeod. There's a huge, huge need there in that position. Something else that I saw yesterday, and I know a lot of people were kicking this around with the Eagles. Lucas Van Ness, the Iowa edge rusher that turned a lot of heads last year, is expected to be a top 10 pick in this draft. He is visiting the Eagles, and the Eagles are kicking the tires on this prospect to see if he would fit here in Philadelphia. Give you a little bit of info on this young man. He is ginormous, first and foremost. He is a beast of a human being. He is 6'5" for an edge rusher. That's pretty tall, especially when you talk about the defensive ends of the Eagles. They're not exactly like Brandon Graham, for instance, the high motor guy, for instance, smaller guy, high motor, that type of thing. This guy just throws bodies out of the way. That's what he did last year for the Hawkeyes. Still has some speed for a defensive end. 4.5 40. Those are his combine results. 31-inch vertical, 9 feet 10 inches for the broad jump. Bench press 17 reps. Not too shabby right there. This, I told you I thought they'd go defensive line. I think they could go in a couple of different directions here when it comes to what the Eagles are looking to do. Miles Murphy is certainly an option there. He's another big guy. You look at what Van Ness can bring to the table here. And like I said, he's more of the physical, throw bodies around type of guy. Murphy's more of the speed guy. But I think they go interior defensive line if they go defensive line. I know they love to have their guys cycle through on edge rushers and all that. But I think if they go anywhere, they go interior of the defensive line. I've seen some people start kicking the tires on the offensive line again. I don't think that's the direction that they end up going. I think if they go linemen, they're going to go for the defensive line before they go offensive line here. That's where I see the Eagles going in the draft. And like I said yesterday, just when I pan it all out, I think they make their selection at 10. I think they trade out at 30 and they get more picks later. I think that's where they're likely to go. Or they end up trading that 30th overall pick to help plug a need that you have on this team right now. I don't think it'll just be a straight up deal 30 for whoever, but I think it'll be for, they'll give a 30th pick and then they'll get picks later in the draft as well. So either way, I think they use that 30th overall pick as more of an asset as opposed to more of an opportunity to make a selection there. So that's how I see the Eagles draft panning out. But yeah, Lucas Van Ness is supposed to join the team or supposed to visit the team today in Philadelphia. So look forward to getting some news about how that meeting goes. I don't know why Rhys Hoskins is such a lightning rod of a conversation piece here in Philadelphia. Whenever I talk about Rhys Hoskins, I don't think he's an all-star. I don't think he's a Hall of Famer. I don't think he is the building block. I know he was here first, but I mean, this became Bryce Harper's team when Rhys missed the end of 2 years ago. Bryce officially took this team over in every capacity. There are people that talk about how overrated he is. And when people start talking about that term overrated, I'm like, okay, well, hold on, time out. How do you rate him? Do you rate him as a perennial all-star? Do you rate him as a Hall of Famer? Do you rate him as the worst player in baseball? Like, how do you rate him? Because he's right here. People really try these insane arguments about what Rhys Hoskins is. He's a good ball player. That's what Rhys Hoskins is. He doesn't suck. He's not great. He's a good ball player. He'll come up with a clutch hit in clutch situations, i.e. the playoffs. He'll strike out a ton. He won't come up in the big moments. He'll butcher a ball at first base, whatever it might be. But that's who he is. He's just I think he is more of a good ball player than he is a terrible ball player. So whenever we talk about Rhys Hoskins, those are the extremes. I just think he's the unfortunate case of a middle-of-the-road baseball player that can hit with pop. Because of the fact that he hits with pop, because he started out his career with an insane run that he had in his first 18 games, a historical mark with the 11 home runs, 18 games. That's pretty damn impressive. But that hasn't set the bar. That unfortunately has set the bar for his entire career. He's just not reaching that bar every single year. So that's what Rhys Hoskins is to me. That's how I rate Rhys Hoskins. And I think everything else after that has been wildly unfair to him because the guy has been a great team leader. The guy has been a great guy in the clubhouse. Listening to Nick Castellanos and Trey Turner, who hit another home run yesterday, this time for the Phillies, incredible. Listening to the guys in the clubhouse yesterday talk about Rhys Hoskins, they really, Nick Castellanos used the term heavy hearts. They really do have heavy hearts when it comes to Rhys Hoskins most likely being injured for a long period of time. That's what they knew yesterday at the time they did their post-game interviews. Now we know that it's an ACL tear, and after an MRI, we know that Rhys Hoskins is going to miss the entire season. I feel horrible for Rhys Hoskins. I don't wave pom-poms for the guy, but like I said, I try to acknowledge what he is, and I think he is a good ball player that will help you more times than he'll hurt you. And I think a reason for his non-consistency, I guess, would be how many batting coaches he's had, how many managers he's had in the time he's been here in Philadelphia. It's rough when you're getting that many mixed messages, especially under the Gabe Kapler era, where you had a guy swinging for the fences in the minor leagues, and now you have a guy being told to be less aggressive. Now he's being told, no, that was fine, be aggressive again. And I think you have seen that kind of influx or that kind of fluctuation when it comes to his numbers. So that's what I think of Rhys Hoskins. And I hate the idea that a guy was trying to work out a deal before the season started with the Phillies. Same thing with Aaron Nola, trying to work out a long-term deal with the Phillies before the season started. Dave Dombrowski at the end of last year saying that he was expecting to work out some kind of deal with Rhys Hoskins. I don't think it was going to be any astronomical number. Don't get me wrong. He wasn't going to be paid more than Bryce Harper or Trey Turner or anybody like that. Not even close. But it was for Rhys Hoskins his big payday. His buddy, Scott Kingery, got a big payday before he even played in the major leagues. $27 million. Not a bad start right there, my friend. Rhys Hoskins, in a year that was supposed to be his year to prove he could be worth a long-term contract and worth some big money, and at least worth money that it was more money than he ever gotten in the previous years of his MLB career. He goes down like this. My heart goes out to him. I wish him a speedy and full recovery, and I hope he comes back with whatever team he comes back and plays for and knocks the cover off the ball as long as that team doesn't play in the NL East. So that's my message for Rhys Hoskins, and that's my take on this situation. Now, as far as what the Phillies do from a baseball perspective, Derek Hall, get your bat ready, friend. Get your glove ready, friend. Alec Bohm, get ready to move over to first base. I know some people were already talking about they don't want to see them do that. That's probably what's going to happen. So then Edmundo Sosa has been learning how to play center field. Yesterday during the broadcast, Rob Thompson was talking to Scott Fransky and Ben Davis, and he said that he likes Sosa in center field. He's fitting into that spot rather well. If they needed to go out there and play some center field in the Matt Vierling role, they're going to have him go out there and play some center field in the Matt Vierling role. All right, fine. Now Hoskins going down. Hoskins not being here for the entire season. That changes things up just a little bit. Sosa probably goes to third base. Alec Bohm goes over there against lefties to hit to play first base in those situations. Derek Hall will probably still be a DH a lot throughout the season. But that's the way the Phillies are probably going to solve this issue. You don't have to go out there right now and make any type of acquisition. Here's the amazing thing about this Phillies lineup. You got guys that can flat out mash. Absolute guys that can flat out mash. Yesterday, I was just rattling off the top of my head. I was talking about the top of the order for the Phils. And probably late May, early June, as we got the good news about Bryce Harper, right? Trey Turner, Kyle Schwarber, Bryce Harper, JT Realmuto, most likely going to be your 1, 2, 3, 4 hitters. Alec Bohm hitting fifth there, maybe. you have a pretty stacked lineup still, even without Rhys Hoskins, even without Bryce Harper. So what a lot of people have been betting on, and a lot of people have been banking on, myself included, for the last, let's say, 6 months, after it was pretty evident that our boy Nick Castellanos wasn't going to all of a sudden have some miraculous ending to the season, that man's got to step up. When I was talking about Nick Castellanos coming into this year, I was talking about a guy that had to have that type of season that we all expected him to have last year. He talked about coming into spring training about how last year was a lot of distractions. He was out of the team late. He had a lot of things going on personally. Now he has the opportunity to settle in, be comfortable, and just fit in his role for Philadelphia. Go ahead and have at it, Nick Castellanos. Good to see you hit a couple of home runs in spring. You haven't had that great a spring, as we all know by now. But last year's numbers, inexcusable for what a guy was coming in here as an all-star, what he was supposed to do, coming off an all-star game, playing for the Cincinnati Reds. We did not see the power numbers. We didn't see the average. We saw him in the field flash some leather in the playoffs, which was great. But in terms of what we need from him at the plate, it becomes more important than ever now that you don't have not only Bryce Harper to start the season, but now you're also not going to have Rhys Hoskins. And now with that on top, you're going to be waiting on guys like Derek Hall to see if he can prove that he can hit pitching at the major league level. We know he's got the power. Can he get on base? Can he play first base in a pinch? This is what we're going to be waiting for. This is what we're going to be needing to see from this Phillies lineup without Rhys Hoskins and without Bryce Harper. Rhys for the season and Bryce for probably the first 2 months of the season. So that's what we got to see. Now you look at a guy like Nick Castellanos. Can he actually do what we all thought? Like, everyone looked at him last year with a little bit of optimism and a lot of realism, said, there's no way he hits 13 home runs. There's no way he hits 260. Well, 260 is probably the thing. Maybe he'll have a higher on base percentage. But there's no way he has this type of season. Again, back-to-back years. He's going to have a bounce-back year. Book it. Well, now you better look at your book and go, oh, yeah, it's booked. He's going to do it. I hope so. Because now the Phillies are going to need his bat more than ever. Imeldo Sosa, I know the power numbers are great. The other thing this also does, when I was thinking about it, was if Sosa does come in to play third base, you're going to need at some point another backup center fielder. I thought maybe, because Rob Thompson did mention it on the broadcast yesterday as well, Scott Kingery now looks like his former self. So I'm thinking, I thought the experiment of Scott Kingery in the outfield was done. Now they might need him. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I'm just saying the thought crossed my mind yesterday when you heard Rob Thompson talk about how well Scott Kingery had been playing. Maybe he's looking like his old self. The way Rob Thompson actually talked about Kingery was just that. He said he finally looks like Scott Kingery again. All right, let's hope that's the case, because the Phillies, they need somebody to step up. If it's not Nick Castellanos, it's somebody else who's got to step up. Brandon Marsh, maybe he's more of that 280, 300 hitter that he was after the trade deadline yesterday, or trade deadline last year when he became a member of the Phillies, where he actually started, hitting the baseball pretty well here in Philly. I don't know what Kevin Long was saying to him, but whatever it was working. Maybe Alec Boehm is the guy that steps up. His average numbers were great last year, but came to the home runs, not great. Whether it's Nick Castellanos, whether it's Alec Boehm, whether it's Derek Hall, somebody in this Phillies lineup needs to step up. Maybe Bryson Stott is willing to take get some power numbers going for this Phillies team. Kyle Schwarber, you're going to get power there. Trey Turner, you're going to get power there. Who's going to step up? I'd love to see second half of the season JT Realmuto start out this year. It's all the ebbs and flows of the game. I know a lot of people will look at Castellanos because of what the expectation was last year and the money that he is getting. You expect him to step up in that bigger role and bigger power numbers and all that. But the bottom line is just somebody has to do it. You just lost 30 home runs. You lost a 1, 2, or 3 hitter in your lineup. You lost your everyday first baseman in Rhys Hoskins. You lost a guy with a good on-base percentage. Yeah, sure. He might only be a 240 hitter, but the guy would get on base and he'd hit with pop. So who's going to step in and fill that role? Derek Hall, I'm looking at you, number 1. Makes the most sense. Alec Boehm, definitely. Nick Castellanos, love to see it. Been betting on it since last year. Those are 3 names that you need to see step up and play a bigger role in the Phillies offense and how they score runs. The other X factor to all this, just comparing this team to last year's team taking away Rhys Hoskins, this year not having him at all, is what Trey Turner does at the top of this order. Because what's going to be great here, especially the way baseball thinks nowadays, is just the opportunities to score runs. Guys that can get on base, guys that can steal bases, guys that can put themselves in scoring position, and Trey Turner is that guy. I'd love to see what the 1-2 punch will be going into this season with Trey Turner at the top of the order and Kyle Schwarber, which is something I wanted to see in spring training to see if Rob Thompson would actually change it up. I mean, Kyle Schwarber had himself a hell of a year as a power hitting leadoff hitter. But now imagine having a guy on base for that power. I like 2-run home runs more than I like solo home runs. You know what else I like? I like putting the pressure on the pitcher from jump when you talk about a guy with a 350 on base percentage in Trey Turner. That's what I love seeing. And Trey Turner can provide that. And now you got to face Kyle Schwarber where there's a man on first or there's a runner in scoring position already. What are you going to walk Kyle Schwarber to pitch to Bryce Harper? Yeah, good luck to you, fella, as the season goes on. So I am very much excited. Feel horrible for Rhys Hoskins, but I still have a lot of confidence in this Phillies team being able to make up for the loss that is Rhys Hoskins. But Rhys Hoskins sucks anyway. He doesn't really suck. Oh, the Phillies aren't going to do anything without Rhys Hoskins in there. Phillies going to be fine without Rhys Hoskins. It sucks, but now the Phillies have to make the adjustment, and now they have to count on somebody else stepping up. Hey, more extra added motivation for Alec Boehm to hit with a little bit more pop. Now you also fall into the category as baseball goes when you have opportunities like this, is somebody not pressing, somebody not stepping into the batter's box trying to do too much. Maybe as I go into the dark recesses and get away from optimism as I try to solve this problem for the Phillies, you're going to have a guy like Boehm who will show tremendous strides this spring training. Are you going to see him now? Oh, Rhys is gone. Other guys got to step up. Derek Hall, this guy had 5 home runs in spring training. Is he going to be a guy that's going to start pressing at the plate? This is my big opportunity. These are the sink or swim moments in baseball careers. One of the things I've hated about prior Dave Dombrowski management in Philadelphia is it seemed like every young guy had a quick hook. Every young guy had a quick hook. You could say a lot of it was Joe Girardi not giving opportunities to players and just releasing the hounds and saying, go out there and play every day. Very rarely have you seen the Phillies just say, yeah, sink or swim, play every you play. It's just like everybody that would go out and they'd try in center field. They would, like Mickey Moniak, I thought was a perfect example of that. Like you didn't have moments with him where there was just release the hounds, go out there and play. It's your job to lose. Bryson Stott got that opportunity last year, and he flourished with that opportunity. Now it's going to be a matter of Derek Hall finding his way as a big league hitter, finding ways to hit pitchers that pitch with both arms, not just lefties, but also hit righties. This is going to be something that we need to see from Derek Hall as he takes on this opportunity. Tremendous opportunity. I hate this. I would, anytime you don't have to platoon, I don't want to platoon. So if Derek Hall can take this opportunity and run with it, it's going to be a great thing for this Phillies lineup. All in all, gave you the take on Ezekiel Elliott. No, thank you. Give you the take on Rhys Hoskins. Feel horrible for the guy. I acknowledge it's a loss for the Phillies. Phillies, I think, are going to be just fine. They have a good enough lineup, especially after May. They have a good enough lineup to still score runs without Rhys Hoskins in that lineup. So that's where I'm at with the Phillies right now. I'm a lot more optimistic than some people might be on the Phillies right now. I don't know if you guys saw this, but the Sixers are in action tonight, 10 o'clock against Golden State Warriors. The more I watch that play with the Warriors, by the way, I know it was a big talking point on a lot of the national networks yesterday, the Mavericks and the Warriors game. You know who is at fault in that? Before I wanted to get this in the morning rush, but now it's on my head, so I'm talking about it now. And I hate to do it because I'm a PA guy myself, not Pennsylvania. Well, I am a Pennsylvania guy, but public address announcer. The public address announcer in Dallas announced Dallas ball. And it's his fault that he announced Dallas ball because he misread the situation. I've been there, but when I don't know, I shut up. And I do the Wings games, all right? I'm not doing NBA games, right? So he saw the official pointing the other way when he was actually pointing to the Mavericks bench. And he looked up, he saw that. He said, Mavericks ball. The problem wasn't with the referee. The problem was with the communication. And that is the in-house communication. That's where Mark Cuban was going over to the scorer's table and saying, wait, hold on a second. It was announced Dallas ball. But it wasn't. It was a misread by the PA announcer. That's my take on it. And I've been in those situations where I'm not sure, and when I'm not sure, I shut up, and I have an official next to me because I didn't grow up playing lacrosse. I don't know the ins and outs of it, so I'm like, what the hell was that? I don't say that into the microphone. I say that to the guy next to me. What the hell was that? And they go, oh, it was an illegal cross check. And I'm like, is there a legal cross check? He's like, yes, that's why it's not called, but you have to say illegal cross check. I'm like, all right, illegal cross check. But it's hard to interpret sometimes. And it is an emphatic point in the other direction, but he's pointing at the bench. So it was a misread, I think, which is what led to all the confusion. So the Sixers have the Warriors coming up who benefited from that call. And the Dallas Mavericks are going to play the game under protest. Nothing's going to happen. The other thing is, it happened in the third quarter. You had a whole fourth quarter, as I said yesterday, to make up for it. But anyway, Sixers are playing the Warriors coming up. Tim Legler talked about Joel Embiid as the MVP. And it seems like now that's the main conversation when we talk Sixers, not just about possibly getting the second playoff seed, which with a Celtics loss tonight and a Sixers win, I believe the Sixers then move into the second playoff seed again, which would be great. So Sixers are in the San Francisco tonight, play the Warriors, 10 o'clock tip-off, late game. I'll be up for it. I know you will be too. But Tim Legler was talking about Joel Embiid on the Old Man and the Three podcast with our old friend JJ Redick. And he broke down a play in the Cavs game, I'm going to say it was, that Joel Embiid solidified. He believes Joel Embiid solidified the votes he'll need for MVP. And it's got nothing to do with a 10-game, 30-point streak or anything like that. It's got to do with defense. Now, I know what a lot of people are thinking, especially the analytic people. The defense doesn't matter for the MVP award in the NBA. It's already been proven over the last 2 years with Joker winning and Embiid not winning, that defense doesn't matter. When you have gotten to a point defensively that Joel Embiid has gotten to, when you have gotten to a point where players avoid the paint, players have a lane to drive, but once they beat their man, they see you coming over with help defense, and they go, no thanks. And they either kick it out or try to bounce pass, or in this instance, try to wrap a pass around you, and you still come up with the block. That's pretty damn MVP. That's pretty damn valuable. The play that Legler was talking about was the Cavs were driving on the lane. Embiid goes up to attempt the block. The pass then gets wrapped around him, all right, to the block, to the opposite block. They then go up to try to dunk it. 7-footer goes up to try to dunk it. Joel Embiid goes right up. Something we rarely see him do, mind you, especially on the offensive end, we rarely see him do it. More so on the defensive end, we'll see him do it, and this is where he does it. He goes down after attempting to block the shot, springs back up, and blocks the dunk. You have a 7-footer in the dunker spot, blocked his shot. Joel Embiid just said, yeah, not today. And it goes the other way. And Joel Embiid's running point, by the way. Tim Legler described that as the moment that Joel Embiid locked up the votes he'll need to win the MVP. Needs to come back from the injury, needs to continue to play strong, needs to continue to play it out, right? Sixers get that number 2 seed. I think it's an absolute lock for him. He could still win it with the number 3 seed, but I think if he gets to that number 2 seed and they still have a better record or the same record as the Nuggets, then I think you absolutely lock it up. But defensively speaking, why am I talking about something that I know the analytic people don't care about as much when it comes to defensive output on the floor? Why am I talking about that when I'm also talking about the leading scorer in the NBA and the first center since the 74 season, 74-75 season, I believe it was, or 73-74. First center to lead the league with scoring with 33 or more points per game. What else do you need? The most important thing in this game, scoring points and stopping points from being scored. Joel Embiid does both of those things almost better than anybody in the NBA. Scoring, the best in the NBA right now. Was last year's 2-time scoring champ. He's not an MVP. Oh, okay. And defensive player of the year candidate. Yeah, it sounds like an MVP to me. It's tough to find a leading scorer in the NBA that plays that great a defense. And that's what Joel Embiid is bringing to the table. Those are the two most important things. It's not that hard. I think when you start bringing it into the analytics, triple-doubles are nice, but I'd rather just be the guy that my team is depending on to score consistently, because the most important thing in the game is the bucket. Making buckets and preventing buckets from happening. Joel Embiid does those two things better than anybody in the NBA. So why are we even having this discussion? Still, he's going to have to finish out the season strong, going to have to continue to be on the run that he's on, can't miss games, because that's what people are waiting for. As I said yesterday, the biggest threat right now to Joel Embiid winning the MVP award is not Nikola Jokic, it's injury. And if Joel Embiid starts missing games towards the end of the season, then every NBA voter, every MVP voter is going to say, look, told you, guy can't make it through a whole season. Why am I going to make him the MVP? I think this is the year he wins it. If I'm putting the money down, I know he's the favorite. I know you're not making a lot of money on it right now. But if, as of right now, Joel Embiid is the MVP of the NBA. Look forward to seeing him return tonight. There's no guarantee he plays. He's questionable as of right now. There's no guarantee James Harden plays, but he is expected to play tonight against the Warriors. 10 o'clock tip-off out there as the Sixers are on this road trip. Let me tell you right now about my man Steven Singer of Steven Singer Jewelers, the other corner of 8th and Walnut, right there on Jewelers Row. For over 40 years, Steven's been in the love business in Philadelphia, helping people get engaged and fall in love. So, ladies and gentlemen, do what I do. When it comes to your big jewelry purchases, trust the man with the perfect price, Steven Singer Jewelers. Now, what's the perfect price, you ask? I'll tell you what the perfect price is. The perfect price is something you don't have to negotiate. You don't have to haggle. You don't have to feel that pressure when you want to buy that beautiful diamond engagement ring for that special person in your life. It means you walk in, you feel comfortable, no negotiating, no haggling. You know you're not getting taken advantage of, while other jewelers are marking things way up just to mark it down a couple of bucks with your negotiation, or, hey, I like your smile, $500 off. No. You don't have to worry about that. At Steven Singer Jewelers, it's all set at the perfect price already. So you just concentrate on the beautiful piece of diamond jewelry that you want to buy. One place, one price, the perfect price online at IHateStevenSinger.com. That's IHateStevenSinger.com. Let me tell you about the great people at Manscaped. Manscaped.com, 20% off with and free shipping with promo code Farzi at Manscaped.com. Oh, hello again. Manscaped.com, 20% off and free shipping. You'll enjoy their Platinum Package 4.0, which includes their Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer and their Weed Whacker ear and nose hair trimmer. They come with skin-safe technology that helps you reduce the risk of nicks so you can manscape with confidence and comfort. So check out Manscaped.com. How about Freestone Farm CBD? Freestone Farm CBD. FreestoneFarmCBD.com. You'll enjoy the tropical tasting Bayox that clocks in at a chart-topping 24.1%, and Super CBD, which is half Hindu, Kush, and 21%. Genetics of these guys are off the charts. You watching me on the monitor, sweetheart? Yeah. Freestone Farm CBD, FreestoneFarmCBD.com. How about PHL Sports Station, Philadelphia Sports Station, enhancing your Philadelphia sports fan experience across all social media and blogs. That's PHLSportsStation.com. Sweetheart, just be careful because that light gets really hot, okay? Hey, Monalutes. Sweetheart. This is the part of the show where Monalutes, please don't touch that. Back away from the wire, please. Yeah, can you back away from the wire? That wire is dangerous. No, don't touch the wire. Thank you. Thank you very much. I see you too. Thank you. Can you, Emanuela? You're still touching the wire. Can you say action? Thank you, sweetheart. It's good to see you. You had another bad dream about Ursula again, didn't you? Oh, you got me. Thank you so much. Can I say hello to the people in the chat now? You got the hiccups. Let's get the chat. What's going on there, chat checkers? How are you guys doing today? Mally, what's up, Mally? Kevin, April. April sucks about Hoskins. Hope they have a plan. I agree. T-Bro, no Zeke. That horse needs to be taken out. Needs to be taken out back. That's the way we're gonna put it because of present company. That goose is cooked. Those legs are shot. Hold. You haven't seen Braveheart. Hold. That's my impression of the Eagles' offensive line. Let's see here. What do you think the plan will be for asking PJ? PJ, what would PJ do? PJ, for me, it would be Sosa starting at third, Bohm moves to first. I think Bohm and Hall platoon at first. All that I think of when I hear Zeke's name is him getting jacked up on that last play. That was pretty nice. Mally, jacked up is an understatement. I hope Zeke's last play in the NFL had him under center. That was too funny. Awful to be. That was a rough one. What do you have? Where did you find a golf ball? You're nuts, lady. Anyway. Mally, don't miss the Ewok. Oh, that is funny. Sean, what's up? Good morning, Farzy. Good morning, guys. We're better addressing in the draft. We don't. Oh, running back. Yes, you're better off addressing running back in the draft. I agree. Mihai, morning, Mark, and everybody. My heart goes out to Hoskins. He is a face of the franchise. I agree with Harper, Schwarber, Real Muto. We're a deep team, though. Castellanos and Bohm are wild cards. I agree. I'm more confident in Bohm turning it on this season than I am Castellanos, though. And I did not think I'd say that at the end of last year. Mihai also says, I say when Harper returns, the outfield be Kingery, Marsh, and Harper. Bohm stays at third base. Schwarber and Castellanos rotate at first and DH. Not bad. All right. I consider it. Really don't like Castellanos at first. Mally, I don't like that either. I don't like Castellanos at first either. But everything's on the table right now. Right now, you don't have a first baseman. You have guys that can play the position. Derek Hall, I hope you have the opportunity, but I doubt that's the case. Kingery does well. Yeah, I hope so too. That's a good point, PJ. Talking about having Scott Kingery get more at bats than all three Castellanos, Schwarber, and Sosa. Could use Sosa at third. I agree, Mihai. Bohm at first. Keep Schwarber, Castellanos in the outfield DH. That makes more sense with Marsh and Harper when he returns. Did you hear anything on a trade for Antonio Winfield from Tampa Bay involving us? Who did I just hear about? Was it Keanu O'Neal? Keanu O'Neal, I think, is coming to visit the Eagles. The Winfield thing I did not see. But I saw Keanu O'Neal is supposed to come to the Eagles. Who's was it his left knee? Bounced the ball off in the hands of Torrey Smith coming out of halftime against the Atlanta Falcons in the NFC divisional round the year the Eagles won the Super Bowl. That was fun. But no, I haven't seen anything on Winfield, unfortunately. Meek Mill was campaigning for Ezekiel Elliott? Come on. Trying to see real quick if there's anything that popped up. Oh, the Eagles already hosted Keanu O'Neal for a visit. Yeah, I haven't seen anything on Winfield. Just wanted to do a last-minute check there. But thank you, Sean. Everyone's saying hi, Little Toots. That's great, Sean Gillespie. That's amazing. MacGyver returns. It's so funny. Reading a weed sponsor and Little Toots in the back. It's CBD. All right, it's CBD. Thanks, everybody in the chat. You guys are great, as per usual. Let's get to the Morning Rush, brought to you by Sky Motor Cars. SkyMotorCars.com. Sixers, Warriors, tonight. Tipping off 10 o'clock in Oakland. Here's where they're at right now, by the way, the Warriors. The Warriors are still fighting for their playoff lives, or excuse me, not playoff lives, to avoid the play-in tournament. They're the 6th seed right now in the Western Conference. They're 38-36 on the season. They're 11.5 games out of first place in the old standings there. They are only 1 game up on the Timberwolves and a game and a half up on the Dallas Mavericks for the final playoff seed, but they got the play-in tournament 7 through 10 there. So the Warriors are still very much fighting for seeding, as are the Sixers, of course. But the Sixers tip off tonight with the Warriors at 10. Boston Celtics in action at 7 o'clock tonight against the Indiana Pacers. So that game will be wrapping up, most likely, at the time the Sixers are tipping off. So we'll see what happens there. Celtics are playing host to the Pacers tonight. I want to give a shout out to the Flyers who won in overtime, or excuse me, in a shootout last night 5-4, they come away with the victory over the Minnesota Wild. They have now won 2 games in a row. Joel Farabee last night came up with his 13th goal of the season. James Van Riemsdyk had a goal to help seal it in the shootout, and Carter Hart was in net for the Orange and Black, really slamming the door for the Flyers to win that game last night. Some of your other goal scorers last night for the Flyers came by way of Joel Farabee. Forrester had a goal last night. Scott Lawton had a goal last night. Ristolainen also had a goal for the Flyers, and Carter Hart made 20 saves in the victory. So good to see the Flyers win 2 in a row. All right, let's keep that party going. Hey, more of me later today, 8:20. I'll be on with my friends over there at Jacob Media, Birds 365, Jody McDonald, John McMullen. Be talking to those guys about what's going to happen next for the Philadelphia Eagles. I'm sure Keanu Neal name will come up. I'm sure a whole slew of other names are going to come up for the Philadelphia Eagles, Lucas Von Ness being one of them. So we'll talk about that coming up in a little bit. 8:20 today with my friends over there at Birds 365. Hey, folks, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. You guys are great, as per usual. My name is Mark Farzetta. This is the Farzy Show, presented by Steven Singer of Steven Singer Jewelers. One place, one price, perfect price. Online at stevensinger.com. Jim Hyden produced the program, did a wonderful job as per usual. This is a Buzz Sports Entertainment production. I hope you guys have a wonderful, beautiful weekend. Flyers Wives Carnival on Sunday. I'll be in the dunk tank there. Looking forward to that. Saturday, tomorrow night, I got a Wings game. Looking forward to doing that. For the Philadelphia Wings, it's emo night. It's not too late to get your tickets, folks. Emo night at the Wings tomorrow night. Get your tickets now. Thanks for watching, everyone. Have a great rest of your day. Have a great weekend. Talk to you Monday. See ya.